Well, good evening, everyone. Thanks for joining us. Welcome to our quarterly members meeting of NECAT. I want to welcome the 92 new members in fiscal year 23. So this last year, that's pretty exciting. And if you're not aware, we've been moving the NECAT technical staff that used to work for ITS into the library under a NECAT umbrella. And so the AV staff, Eric Lowy and Sam Burns, are now officially civil service employees with the Nashville Public Library. So that's pretty exciting. The CAT TV budget. So this is, if you recall, we went through some Comcast focus groups at the end of last year. And Comcast has an agreement with Metro Nashville. Long story short, that provides funding for the 3 channels on NECAT and some equipment. And so we were able to secure approximately $45,000 in funding for new equipment for the studio for this upcoming year. Eric and Cameron and Sam worked really closely to make sure that we're getting the needs of the studio met. So that's exciting. I want to invite you all, especially the new members, to come to your local Nashville Public Library branch and get a library card, because we're all just one big happy family, and there's a lot of great resources you can check out there. And the other thing I wanted to make sure I did was provide an update on the building. I believe returning members are aware, and for those of you that are new, the lease that Metro has with Nashville State Community College ends in January of 2025. So in February of 2025, we need a new home. And we've been working with General Services at Metro to identify potential locations. And I am allowed to share that the Donaldson Public Library, so there's a new Donaldson Public Library being built. And so the existing library on Lebanon Road, there has been a feasibility study done to look at that site potentially being the new NECAT studio. That's the primary site that they're considering right now. It isn't confirmed. It isn't definite. They're still considering other properties that Metro has in its portfolio, but that's the only one right now that seems like a viable option. So a feasibility study has been done, and we are asking an architect to come on board to evaluate that. So it's not a done deal, but it's in the works, and I just wanted to let everybody know so you could start processing that, and if you have any feedback, to share it. But our goal is to make as smooth of a transition as possible. And Cameron, is there anything else you want to add about that?
No, just that we're still listening to all members. Like, if you have any thoughts and ideas about what you think is needed, it's a good time to let us know. Like, send us an email, because we're still kind of floating all this stuff up the chain to say, like, hey, someone brought this to our attention that the community could use this. And so as we build something new, we want your input constantly on what that's going to be. We're super excited to share the news when we have the news. So hopefully that's coming soon.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So I think I'm handing it over to you totally now, Cam.
So I've got just a studio report. I want to give you guys just some things that are happening at NECAT, some situation stuff that we've kind of worked through recently, and just, there's going to be time a little bit later to do a Q&A, so you guys will have an opportunity to ask any of us any questions on these things you're hearing. So we're going to report all this stuff, and then you can ask us whatever questions you want. But studio bookings this year at NECAT has been at 97% utilization of total time allowed. We've had 46 cancellations not reported within 48 hours, which is something that I wanted to address with all of our members. So we want you to use the studio, and you guys have been doing a great job of using the studio at 97%. But those 46 times, and that's twice a day that someone could come in and use it, it's always best if you know you can't be here, let us know ahead of time. That way someone else can grab that spot and use it, because we don't want an empty building. It's just super important for that. And as you can see, whenever you're at 97%, it's hard to sometimes book the studio. I know some of you have come to me and said, like, hey, I wish we had more time. So we want to make sure that we're always using it to the best of our ability. Currently in the month of October, we're at 98% booked. November is 64% booked, and December is 45% booked right now. So if you have ideas for times you want to shoot before the end of the year, this is a good time to go ahead and get yourself on the books and book the studio and get here and make some stuff. Additionally, we want to congratulate all of our NECAT producers for completing new shows, episodes, and projects this year. Your unique voices are what makes this place special. We've had 15 new first run programs this year and 606 individual new episodes of programs turned in this year for air. That's pretty exciting stuff. We want to make sure, worth a hand clap.
Yeah.
Can I get a show of hands real quick? Who signed in when they came in tonight using the kiosk? A couple people did, a couple people didn't. So this is what I want to encourage you all to do. Before you leave tonight, make sure you use that kiosk, or there's a QR code that you can scan with your phone and sign in. Signing in helps us show usage, and it's very important in our reporting to help secure funding. We have this year have had 2,299 unique visits according to that sign-ins. That is not accounting for anyone who skipped the line and didn't actually put it in there. But whenever, like Lee's talking about a new building, having those numbers to give back to Metro and say, hey, these many people are using it, that is going to help us get space for everybody. So encourage all the people that you bring in for your shoots to sign in on the kiosk. We've had a total equipment checkouts this year of 26 different times that people have come and checked out equipment from us. You are able to check out cameras and microphones and lighting and things like that. You're able to keep it for a week at a time. A little bit later, Eric's going to share some new things that are coming in that you'll be able to check out soon. But just something worth noting, if you have things that you want to make, like if you want to go out and make a short film or you want to go out and make a music video, but you don't necessarily want to make it in this building, we have resources for that. Just let us know what you need and we'll work with you to put a package together that you can check out and do that with. If you walk through the halls tonight, you probably noticed posters and prints that are hanging up that may be a little bit different than the last time that you visited if you haven't been here in a while. We want to encourage everyone to be taking photos of your shoots, basically. We try to snap photos of things whenever they're happening, but we don't always have the capability to come back here and take photos for you. But if you snap a digital photo and email it to us, a lot of times if there's something there, we'll select it and put it on the wall, because we want to be able to show off the things that you're doing. And what that helps us do is when we give tours of the building, I can say like, oh, here's this show that was made in this space, or here's these people. And you can actually see the faces of the people that are making the shows here. So please send us that way. At the same time, if you have a poster for your show or even a design, 11 by 17 poster for anything that you've made that we air on NECAT, send that to us and we'll print it and hang it up in the hallway. Because again, we want to be able to show off the shows that you're making with us all the time. Right now, there has been some funding put forward to print that stuff. So if you send it to us, we will get it up. There's no say that like a year and a half from now that we'll still have that same funding. So it's a good time to get your picture up right now. I did want to address this past weekend. We had an issue with the toilets backing up, resulting in the need to close the studio for maintenance on Sunday afternoon. So this is just a reminder for everyone that nothing should go down the drains except for toilet tissue. If you notice a problem in the bathroom or anywhere else in the studio, you see something, report it to the staff immediately. That way we can help get that taken care of. But again, the signs are up saying what not to flush. Please use the trash cans. Like I say, if you have a problem, just let me, Eric, or Sam know, or Lee if she's here any day of the week. I know that can be a little bit embarrassing if you're like, oh, there's toilet trouble, but please let us know, because it's better than having to shut the thing down and then having to sit in Monday smelling sewage as we did all of our other work.
Get the plunger out.
Yeah, absolutely. I want to talk a little bit about some collaborations that we have done this past year at NECAT. The Nashville Film Festival was here recently. We completed a festival preview with our programmers from the Nashville Film Fest that will air later this month during their festival. That'll be on television all week long. We'll be running it just about every day, so you can kind of see the different movies that'll be playing at the Nashville Film Festival. The 48-hour film project, which we were talking about before the taping started, NECAT hosted both the Actors Self-Tape Workshop and a screening and tips and tricks panel with filmmakers leading up to the 48-hour film project. We want to congratulate all the filmmakers and multiple NECAT members who participated this year. They're actually screening tonight, so I think there's a lot of people over at the Belcourt watching those movies right now. Friends Life community. Friends Life is a community of adults with cognitive disabilities that has been joining us in the studio every month this year. They have recently completed the project Big Power in Me, which begins airing next week, Friday, September 22nd at 7:30 and 8 p.m. on channels 9 and 19. I encourage you all to watch it. They're just an inspiration to see where they started the first year, where they just had never done anything like this, and now they're making things both in front of and behind the camera. I think everyone in this room could, say that NECAT is a space that is very welcoming and inviting. We want to give equal access to everyone. They're a great example of what can be done if someone has space to do things. So, again, I encourage you all to watch that. The Tennessee Screenwriters Association meets here every final Wednesday of the month for a TV taping. They interview screenwriters about their trade and discuss the art of writing. Completed shows recently started airing on NECAT, so you can check your local listings on that for screen times. But if you want to hear more about how to write films and television and things like that, it's a good time to show up because they usually tape a complete episode. They're bringing in professional screenwriters and just doing an interview there. There's some people from their group here tonight, so yeah, you may have something to say about that during the Q&A. But come watch, come work with other writers, get involved in things that are happening not only in this building but all over town. So
When did you say they meet?
it's the final Wednesday of every month. Is when they tape. Yeah. The Women in Film and Television Nashville recently completed their High Heels Cabaret variety show. This show was created as a fundraiser to make it possible for women in their organization to take advantage of the NECAT classes at no cost. This show will air later this year. We've had a really great time with the Women in Film group. They brought a specialty class in here that was like all women. We taught them through both days of our program, and then they started making shows immediately. And this cabaret show came together pretty naturally from there to help bring more people in and have conversations, about that. Finally, Celebrate Nashville, a collaboration with Centennial Park Conservancy, is one of Nashville's most vibrant festivals and a celebration of what makes Nashville great. Our own Lee Booley will be hosting portions of the event on October the 7th, and you'll be able to watch all of that live here on NECAT as it happens. So tune in that day to hear Lee host that whole thing.
Well, other people
yeah.
in Nashville giving like TED Talks. It's
Yeah.
part of the Multicultural Festival on October 7th. It's held at Centennial Park. It's a really cool day with music, and there's lots of food, and there'll be like, I want to say like trapeze artists, or it's just like a fun outing. But NECAT and the National Public Library are going to have a tent there where folks through Celebrate Nashville will come and give these talks, and I'm going to be emceeing it along with Maria West, my assistant.
So go down to Centennial Park if you can, but if you can't be there, watch it on NECAT.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
NECAT's the place to watch it.
Yeah. So, quick update on classes.
Cameron, I want to mention one more collaboration, Juneteenth,
Absolutely.
because we have one of our performers from
Yeah,
the Juneteenth
absolutely.
Poetry Jam who was
Awesome.
here,
Yeah.
who was like, had no voice and still belted out her
Suffered
poem.
through it, yeah.
And like, we tortured her that day. So I was super
Persevered.
happy.
And we had Juneteenth. We ran it was 6 or 7 hours. I can't remember top of my head.
It's almost 7.
Live from Fort Negley that we ran that night, did the whole fireworks show. NECAT is very proud that we were the first television station in the nation to run the Juneteenth fireworks the year before it became a national holiday, and we've done that for the last few years. In the poetry jam that Eric mentioned, it was a collaboration between local poets who came in and just lended their voices and talked about what Juneteenth meant to them. We aired that during the day there. Just a really fantastic program altogether. You can watch it online. If you missed it on Juneteenth, you can watch it on our YouTube channel and on the NECAT website there. So quick class update. So we've had 156 different people come through classes this year. We just a reminder that we have some upcoming classes for those of you who want to further your TV education at NECAT. I think we may have a couple people here tonight that are coming into NECAT for the first time. You can sign up. The first thing you want to do is Production 1 class. This is available the first Saturday of every month. We have classes available right now on October 7th, November 4th, and December 2nd. I believe we have openings in all three of those. Yeah. That's true. Sure. October 7th, November 4th, and December 2nd. We're also holding a class next week as a 2-night event, September 21st and 22nd. I believe that one is actually full, but I only mentioned it to say that this was our second 2-night version of that this year. We're evaluating the best course to continue that going forward, so we do want your feedback. If Saturdays are problematic or have been problematic for you in the past to get up here and attend those classes, if weeknight classes are something you want to see us continue, please let us know how that is helpful to you, because we're planning the next year and we kind of want to know how we can serve the community better in that way. Production 2 class is September 28th and 29th as 2 nights, and again November 30th and December 1st. You get to hang out with me if you come to that. I look forward to seeing most of you. I know we've got a lot of producers. Is there anyone here who hasn't done their Production 2 class? Just show of hands in the studio audience. A couple people. So yeah, sign up for that. Come learn how to do that. Your first class basically we teach you all the parts of the studio, from behind the camera, in front of the camera, whatever it may be. That allows you to work on any production in-house. But once you complete Production 2, you're able to start booking the studio, and once you've completed your show, you can actually put it on the air. So it's important to go through that process. We've also got a couple specialty classes before the end of the year. We try to do these every month. There's a different specialty class that happens, and these 3 classes happen quarterly. For editing, there's 2 opportunities left this year. There's one on September 17th and December 3rd. For lighting and green screen, there's one more class this year on October 15th. And for audio, you have one more opportunity this year. It's November 18th and 19th.
You've got a hand.
Yeah.
Sorry, can you repeat that again?
You just want the dates? Sure. Editing class is September 17th and December 3rd.
September 17th
And December 3rd. 2 opportunities on that one. Lighting and green screen happens on October 15th. And the audio class is a 2-day class. It's November 18th and 19th. You can sign up for any of those classes by getting with me, Eric, or Sam. We'll get you signed up. Yes, do you have a question?
Now these dates.
Online.
They're online.
Yeah.
They're on the website at necatnetwork.org. You can click there and sign up for class. Or just, again, if you talk to any one of us just let us know. We'll get you set up.
Yeah, and to that end, it's probably good to look if you're on Facebook or Instagram to go ahead and find the NECAT network there. Classes will get posted.
Yep.
The website is a really good resource, though, to see upcoming classes because I know it's a lot of dates being thrown at you all at once. But let us know if there were any you didn't catch. I see another hand in the back.
Yeah.
Has there been any more discussion about offering this specialty class for documentaries?
We are having discussion about putting that into play for next year. We're finalizing everything right now, and as soon as we know exactly how that's all going to land, we'll make an announcement. Yeah. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Eric, and he's going to show off some of the great stuff that's coming into the studio soon.
Yeah. So I want to give you an update just on gear that's come into the studio that we've already done. We've added more wireless microphones. We've been getting a lot of questions on wanting more lapels and things like that. So we've now upped it to 8 lapels. We were at 4, so we did double that. And we were at 2 wireless handhelds, and we're now at 4 wireless handheld mics. That was one of the big requests that we've been getting. We also added more microphones just in general. So we added a bunch of Beta 58s, another SM7B, and a few other microphones for like bands and things like that. We added some lighting. I think everybody that's done a production in here has probably used our uplights at some point. That is our most used purchase, I think, of recent. And I mean, they get used on every single production. We do have 12 uplights that can be utilized in all forms and fashions. You look out the room, got a kind of a weird setup with them today, but it's just showing you that we can do all different things with them. And then the biggest one, because the biggest complaint we were getting was our comms was just, they're very difficult to work with. So we updated our comms. We went from 5 comms to 8 wireless comms and 2 wired in the booth.
So these
for
are
a total
the,
of 10.
sorry to
Yeah.
interrupt, these are the headsets for those of you that weren't catching the lingo where you can communicate behind the scenes with one another.
So, thank you. But yeah, so upgrading our communications here in the studio just because we are doing a lot of larger productions where we do need to be able to talk. I know like Dan's group, they have like 5 or 6 usually floating around in the studio during their shows. So those are big things. And these were all things that were asked upon by you guys, the members, and we've been we've been making those updates as we could. Some new things that we got coming up here. We're looking at replacing all the, Lee had mentioned we got $45,000 in funding from the CATV special committee. And that money is going to go towards a lot of these updates. We are going to change out all the cameras on the pedestals. The cameras, it says 10 years on here, but we are estimating they're actually about 12 years old. They're starting to have a lot of issues. They're dark, and the white balances are just all kinds of wacky. They're never the same, and it's just something we're trying to, or we're gonna get improve on. Teleprompters. So that's the little glass thing in front of the camera. One of the big questions we've been asked is because there's only one, TSA is a big one where they'll script out a bunch of their stuff and they can't really have two people looking at one script. So we are going to add teleprompters to all three cameras, as well as some other monitors and stuff. So that way you can do whatever you want. And I'm going to show you guys some photos of what that's all going to look like here in a little bit. And then we want to improve our monitoring. So we are going to actually put some monitors in the hallway, down the hallway, so we can show different productions on those monitors, what's going live in the studio. We've had a bunch of live shows where people were, couldn't get into the room for whatever reason, so they're down there and they just want to be able to see it as well. And also, it's a cool thing when you walk in and there's a production going on, you can see what's actually being produced in the studio. So that's our big one that we want to do. And then we're gonna add some more recording capabilities. And I'll kind of explain that here in a little bit. But the new cameras that we're gonna put in on the pedestals, these are the exact same cameras that we have purchased for checkout. So we announced those, what was that, June?
Yeah, I think that's
I think it
right.
was in June or July that we announced our new cameras that are available for checkout. These are going to be the exact same cameras, and the thought process there is just to make it easier for everybody. You get trained once, both, the cameras in here and that you can take out. Our teleprompters. So again, it's going to have that glass in front of the camera. So you have that, and then it's going to have a monitor below that. And the reason for the two monitors is, one, you can put whatever you want on there. So if you want a teleprompter on one and the clock on another, you can do that. If you want a confidence monitor, so being able to see that camera or your program, whatever it is, those are all individually selectable. And being that there's going to be now 6 new monitors on those cameras, or the 3 teleprompters and 3 monitors, all of that is customizable. So if you're like, I want a teleprompter here, a clock here, whatever it may be, we can make that happen. That's big to have all that capability in this studio. Yeah.
I just have a question. With these monitors, will they be more movable?
So those will be mounted on the pedestals of the cameras. So
The monitors one?
These monitors here, the teleprompters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So-
I thought you were talking about something like that.
Oh, we are going to put in. The goal is we're actually going to put a little bigger one on here because it's when people have been using the background, it's just a little smaller.
Yeah.
And this one is going to get mounted in the hallway. But the monitors that we're going to put in the hallways, they won't be really. They'll be mounted on the wall, so not movable.
Okay.
So.
But you'll still have a couple more monitors out here.
Yeah, we'll still have monitors out here that can be moved around and stuff like that. Yep.
So we won't have this large one anymore, we'll just have the small ones on the,
There'll be a larger one than
No,
this
that one
Even
over there
bigger.
is going to get bigger.
so we will have.
Yep, you'll still have that, Dan. Yeah.
That'd be really good.
Yep.
Yep.
So you'll be able to see yourself.
Below the cameras, will they all be the live shot? Or will-
So you can, however we want to set it up for your show, we can do that. So if you want it to be that specific camera that's behind it or the program, whatever it is, we can make that happen. So,
Yeah.
cool. And then the recording. So one of the big problems that we have is our larger shows or people that come in and shoot 3-4 episodes in a day is we have to transfer all that at the end. And so it's taking a lot of transfer time and all that. We're going to put in these HyperDeck Studio Minis, which record directly to SD cards. So, a $10, $20 SD card, you bring it in, plop it in the recorder, and it's going to record all that directly for you. So you can take that with you when you leave, and then you have all that. We'll have 4 of these, so you can do your program and 3 individual cameras, or however you want to set that up. We'll be able to help you out with all that. All right, so that's studio that's happening in the or gear that's happening in the studio here. As Cameron talked about earlier, we want to increase our capabilities of you guys doing productions outside. So one of the big things that we're going to do is we're buying some C-stands. We have 4 here. 4 is nice because you can do stuff, but you need more to do anything that involves lighting. So we're buying, I think it's 6 more, something like that. Yeah. So you'll have capabilities of doing whatever you need on that. More sandbags, because you can never have too many sandbags. Apple boxes. So if you need You know, you got a short actor and you need him to just be a little taller, or you just need a seat while you're out in the field. Apple boxes are good for that. And then we're doing some grip gear, so we'll have Mayfair clamps. So these can be so you can mount your lights to anything else that you need. We do have, or last year we did buy an extra light kit. Those have been going out constantly, so our lighting kits are getting utilized, but you can, instead of mounting them on the little tripods that it comes with, you can mount these to pipe or whatever you might need to mount them to. And then we'll also have gator clamps, there we go. And these can be used for lighting. There's also like little threaded holes where you can screw in different things that you might need. So like a GoPro, you know, different threads that you might need to mount stuff with. The big one is we've been getting a lot of questions about our boom mic. People don't always have a boom operator. So we're going to buy a boom mic adapter for C-stands. So you can mount your boom mic above your subjects, whatever it is.
That's great.
Yep.
Thank you, Eric.
You're welcome.
You know me, I've been here for a long time, and I've been kind of pushing for more boom mics.
Yeah. I will say the hard one is we've had productions where we needed a boom mic and we like jerry rig a boom mic to a C-stand, and it's not that it wasn't safe, it just doesn't look pretty, and you know, don't want to damage our equipment. You know, it's getting a little scrapes on it and stuff, but
What's the range of those boom mics?
our boom mic has an extension of 12 feet.
Yeah, it's a Rode NTG3, which is a directional microphone. So, I mean, it's a shotgun mic. I would imagine anything past about 12 or 15 feet, you're starting to lose stuff. But, I mean, it has a pretty wide range for sound.
Yep.
Yeah.
So.
And I see it's got wheels on it, too. So.
Well, that's just a photo from, that's just showing you what that would look like on a stand. So the C-stands don't have wheels, but C-stands are pretty easy to move.
Okay.
Yeah. Lighting gear, we're going to have flag kits, so, you know, give you the opportunity to control light better so you're not getting spill, or if you have lights that are, we do have, you know, incandescent lights. If they're too bright, you can put a scrim in front of them, those things. You know, negative fills with your black, whatever you need there. And speaking of that, we are also getting a couple 4x4 floppies, so you can, you know, block out the sun or anything where you're trying to control light better.
And we would encourage you all to come to the lighting class, and
Yes.
you'll learn how to use a lot of this
All
stuff.
this equipment will be
Yeah.
part of the lighting classes as it comes in. So, cool. And I think that's it.
Yeah. We want to open up for questions and answers. So if anyone has got one, there's a microphone right here for the sake of the tape. If you guys want to pass that around, or you want to stand at the microphone, that's fine to be in the light. Yeah. Yeah, that's great.
Thank you.
Thanks, Breeze.
Thanks, Breeze.
My question is, I'm getting it. I want to get back into the classes and all, but I know the specialty classes. One of the things I want to focus more upon is the green screens, and I just want to know. I know I'm jumping ahead of the gun right now, but I know you guys are looking for the next place to settle down, so to speak. But I'm wondering, just are those green screen classes going to be like sporadic, or?
So the last one for this year is October the 15th, but we try to hold them quarterly. So at least once every 3 months, you have the opportunity to take a green screen and lighting class. Now, the other thing that you can do at any point in time, if you need to book the studio for yourself with specific intention that you want to learn how to use the green screen,
Right.
let us know ahead of time. And what we'll do is we'll take time to just come back here and show you some things in the studio. So we can do some one-on-one things like that. We like to teach it as a class because it helps you just give better use of the studio. But if it's something that weekend isn't working out for you, or you need to do it faster than that, just let us know. We'll find a way to get you on the studio
Right,
calendar.
because I just got
Yeah.
transferred over from one place to
Sure.
the next. So I'm going, most of my days off are on like Thursdays and Fridays.
Yeah.
So what I'm trying to do is trying to find out ahead of time so I can tell my bosses, just regular communication, and
sure.
just trying to figure out what's the best possible way, because I'd really like to take, I'd really like to take the second course, but also I'd like to take the green screen classes and some editing.
Sure.
I'm just trying to make sure that it we can get something set up so it's not too complicated.
Sure.
for me
And so, other than October 15th, I know sometime probably closer to late November, early December, we will post all of the class dates for next year on the website. So you'll have you'll be able to see like where everything's going to land for next year, and you'll have those same 4 opportunities for any of the specialty classes. For the production 2 class, it happens 6 or 7 times a year, depending on how much, like we always do it every other month, but we have in the past added an extra class, whatever it has needed it, if we have a lot of people that have signed up for things.
Okay,
So yeah,
that's cool. Thanks, guys.
great. Thanks, Breeze. Yeah, go ahead.
I just want to say we can always count on Dan for a question,
Yeah.
which I like.
Have you ever had a TriCaster class? That is the one thing to me that's the most difficult to learn. You can go online on YouTube and get, tutorials, but you don't have a TriCaster sitting in front of you.
Sure.
So you've got to be here. And so, if you book time, it's just you and the TriCaster.
Yeah.
So, and it'd be hard to have a class with 20 people in a TriCaster. That is the one thing that's the hardest. You can't just pull somebody off the street and say, come on in, handle the lights, you can move cameras around, but you can't pull somebody off the street to be a technical director. That's what I want to learn more than anything else.
Sure. We try to teach basic knowledge of that during production 1, and obviously that doesn't touch all that. What we encourage people to do constantly is sign up for different productions, whether it be other member productions or NECAT does what we call in-house productions more than a couple times a year, where we try to put people in spaces where they can learn while doing and actually see it at work. Specifically to your question, Dan, like if you're like, hey, I want to learn how to do this, in the same way that I told Breeze, like if you were to tell me that, what we would do is we would probably book some studio time, and we would probably put it out to other people, like, hey, if anyone wants to come in specifically to learn on the TriCaster, we may pull in a smaller group of people to focus on just that. That's always possible if you're wanting to know that. Again, it's just a matter of just letting the staff know. We'll bring it up, make sure that there's time in the schedule, and we'll try to make sure that we're getting the best use of the studio, because it's fine to book it and use it as one-on-one, but it's always better if we could get multiple people in the studio at a time to learn a specific thing. And it's always like if you tell us on Thursday and you want to do it on Saturday, it's not ideal because it doesn't give everybody else time to do that. But if you let us know that's something you want, we have conversations about it. We try to plan for it. We want to meet the public where they're at. So if that's the thing that's needed, we bring it back to Lee, and Lee says, thumbs up, let's make that happen, and we figure out a time to make it work. So just let us know if you want it, and we'll put that into consideration. Yeah.
Dan, let me ask you, are you asking more just on the basics of like switching, or more intricate parts where like you guys are doing the 3 shots and the lower thirds and all that?
Well, just everything.
Everything? Okay.
Yeah.
Just,
Just to become an expert on it.
okay.
It's good feedback.
I asked Ann,
Yeah.
and she said, well, I did it by just coming in here and working.
Yeah. It is one of those things you have to,
Repetition.
yeah.
Yeah, repetition gets it for sure. Yeah.
I know that this might be a little bit weird, but is it in the budget to possibly get some more backdrops for the studio, or is that going to be kind of on a each production's kind of own budget to be more responsible for that?
There definitely has been conversation about doing some more budgets and like putting some budget money towards things like that. Can't say that we have anything specific that's been put together for that. A lot of times it is based on the production, and we do have people that come in and like I think last year we had someone that came in and they repainted the existing sets that we had just to kind of clean them up a little bit. We've had a couple people that have brought things in for a one-off. They're like, hey, can we leave this here? And we have allowed that in the past. It really is just a matter of like trying to fundraise for it, and then also a lot of times when it comes to creating that stuff, we've had in the past members just come in and actually help paint that kind of stuff. So It's possible. Again, it's like if you have something specific you want, bring it to us, and then we consider it. Everything when it comes to anything that needs to be budgeted, whatever you pick for the year, it takes another year before it comes back around again. So we can put that on the docket for next year and see if we can find some space for that.
Okay.
Yeah, good thought. Thank you.
Cameron,
Yeah.
out of curiosity, what if you could just build your own backdrop and just would that be okay?
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, as far as anything that you can build and put together, that would be great. we've had like TSA has been storing the backdrop that they have, here in the studio space. The trick to it is we don't have a lot of storage in this particular facility. I can tell you that me and Lee had a lot of conversation when it came to planning for the new studio about like how much space are we going to have for props, for backgrounds, for dressing rooms, all those different things. So it's definitely something we're considering in the new space. But as far as like for the next year and a half, basically while we're still here, you can absolutely build something. Whether it gets to stay permanently in that space or not, it really just depends on how cumbersome it is and if we have any space to store it.
Well, we definitely need some new plans.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I may have a few questions.
Sure.
It's my first meeting. I have a podcast that I want to jump off, and I have a documentary
Okay.
that I want to put together to kind of, I guess, be a promo to the podcast. And so I'm also founder of a nonprofit. So whatever resources are out here to help, I definitely want to utilize to the fullest. About 2 weeks ago, I just, bought some equipment on my own, like a mic and like a streaming board. And the thing about it is, I don't know how to operate none of this stuff. You know what I'm saying? As I understand it, it's just going to take, I guess, some time. Along with playing with it. I downloaded OBS software, and that's, like I said, it's one of those things I guess it'll take some experience of getting. Sounds like a good network. Y'all offer classes and things of that nature. That should be great. So you pay the membership fee, and it's pretty much, you have access to, to whatever resources that NECAT has, pretty much. Is that how it works?
Yeah, I could walk you through it real quickly.
Yeah.
The basic idea of is for a producer membership, it's $100 annually.
I've seen that.
So that's what you would pay. You need to complete Production 1 and Production 2 classes.
Yeah.
Once you've completed those 2 classes and you're up to date on that, you can book the studio and you can have it all. You can book it up to 4 times at any given time, like have 4 different dates on the books, and you can come in and make anything that you want in this space that is commercial free. And what that basically means is like this is a not-for-profit space. You own your copyright. You own your product, whatever it is. But anything that you make in this building is supposed to air on one of our 3 channels.
Okay.
You can't, what you can't do is you can't like book a commercial and try to get a corporation to pay you to come in here and book this as free space. But anything that's just for a creative platform, you can do that for yourself. What you do with that, once you've created it and taken it out into the public, we hope you blow up. We hope you become a superstar. And because when you do, I'm going to come back to you and say, hey, donate some money back to NECAT so we can buy some more equipment to help everybody else out. So
Absolutely.
Yeah.
What else do y'all do to raise funds? You mentioned fundraising and stuff like that.
Sure. So much of our budget is part of National Public Library, and yearly it comes from citizens and taxpayer money. Part of it comes through the Comcast money that Lee had mentioned earlier. Comcast Cable is required to pay a certain amount of money every year and give space on the airwaves to people like yourselves to make the shows that they want to make through there.
Okay.
There is also fundraising through the Nashville Public Library Foundation, and there also the NECAT board fundraises throughout the year for very specific things. And like I mentioned earlier, like Tennessee Women in Film, they fundraise for scholarships to help pay for those things. So there's opportunities. We have worked with other nonprofits in the past for specific things where they may buy a piece of equipment or they may sponsor a certain show or scholarships or things like that. So it is possible to do.
Gotcha.
I highly recommend coming to the classes. It's
Yeah.
a great way to meet other folks that are interested
Yeah,
in production and maybe even get crew to help with your production.
Absolutely. I'm gonna get with y'all after this meeting.
Good.
And just kind of
And I'll tell
get
you-
everything set up.
Because you said you bought your own equipment. Our classes, one of the big things is we don't just teach our equipment. We do talk about just generalization of equipment as well.
Yeah,
Where
fundamentals.
we'll teach you all the fundamentals of cameras and microphones and all those things.
Good. All right.
Yeah, this is like basically film school, but a lot cheaper.
Right.
It's subsidized.
Yeah, for sure.
heavily.
That's a good way of putting that.
Yeah.
Any other
Good questions. Oh, we got
questions?
one
Yeah.
more.
Danny Ramsey.
Are the new cameras 4K or up, and when do you get them?
So the cameras that are available for checkout, they are 4K. They are available as of July 1, so you can start checking those
Okay,
out
cool.
now. The new cameras coming into the studio, they are the exact same, so they will be 4K. We probably won't be doing too many productions in 4K, just because of recording space and things like that. But everything is going to be that. So if there is something you are looking to do, we can set that up for 4K.
And nature of broadcast on NECAT, just by the time that we send it out to cable television,
Yeah.
it dumbs it down so much. A lot of what we shoot in house we don't do is 4K. Doesn't mean that it's not possible. And you definitely, if
Yeah.
you want to go that route, we can help make that happen. But it's just for the things that are going to air here, it's a lot of times it's overkill.
You're at 1080. Is that the?
720 to air right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
just to try and get anybody interested in a production. As you know, that
Absolutely.
4K, they won't even look at it. If it's not. So.
Well, especially if you're checking out equipment and taking it out into the world and editing at home and then
Mm-hmm.
dumping it back. Because again, even if you give me the most beautiful 4K film, we're going to run it through the thing. By the time it goes out to cable, they're going to
Yeah.
kick it down
I'm
pretty
with you.
far. So,
All right.
yeah,
Thanks.
good question. Thanks, Danny.
I'm sorry, I'm asking something.
No, you're fine. Come on, Reese.
I want to ask you about video quality. I'm trying my best to make my videos. I mean, they look good and all, but do you guys teach some sort of like how to make your videos a little bit more cinematic quality?
We
You know what I'm saying?
we definitely talk about in our production classes kind of how to achieve a couple different types of shots. Cinema language is one of those things that the more you do it, the more you learn about it. And and again, like the things that we shoot in studio, a lot of times we teach a very basic version of it to start because we want to give the most opportunity for everyone to be able to get something on the screen. I'm always happy to have discussions with people about ways that they can kind of bring that up. I can also point you towards a lot of online content where you can learn from home on how to get even your cell phone camera to do some pretty amazing stuff. I mean, it's the equipment that exists in this day and age is just marvelous. So, but yeah, we're happy to try to help with that as best we can. Yeah. Any other guests?
I have 2 questions.
Sure.
One about the new cameras. Do you know if they can wirelessly go to like an iPad as a monitor?
Bluetooth connection. I don't know that off top of head. I would have to check the specs on that, to be honest.
I'm trying to think if like the TriCaster might be able to send
The
like that.
TriCaster could definitely do it. If you're out in the field, it would be different. If you're in studio,
That's what I was thinking. Like, could you create a field monitor with the camera?
I would have to get back to you on that because I don't know top of head what the connectivity is, but I could find out for you for sure.
And are there field monitors?
We do not have field monitors at the moment, but that is something we can
Yeah.
look at for next round of CATV for sure.
Yeah.
I would
It's a
say
good thought.
I will say one thing is at the end of every production, everybody should get an email that says fill out this survey. That is a great place for you to put any information. It asks like any improvements that you can think of for the studio. That's a great place for you to put that. It gets sent to Cameron, and he will hey, so and so mentioned X, Y, or Z, and we'll look at adding that for our CATV budget for the following year. All the things that we're purchasing for the studio, those are all based off of suggestions that we've gotten in the past.
Yeah, it really does help to know the kind of things that you want to make because that does dictate a lot of times the kind of things that we're going to spend on, and it helps us articulate why we need something whenever we have multiple people that says, "Oh, we need this specific thing," or we've had this, no one's using this anymore. Could we get this instead? And we were able to research it again, take it to all the decision makers, and let them go, "Yeah, that's a great idea." And so, everybody that is sitting at this table, I promise, they want to give you the best of everything as to the best of our abilities. Yes.
Just a question about the volunteer calendar. Is it solely on the Facebook group, or are there other ways to look at a volunteer calendar and see people?
There's a volunteer calendar on the necatnetwork.org website that you can sign up for. The trick to that is it's got to be it's not only the member who wants to sign up to volunteer, the producer who is producing the show also has to go there to help find people. If you were to come to me and you say, "Hey, I want to learn how to do the TriCaster, or I want to run cameras, or I want to do any particular thing," what I'm usually going to do is I'm going to say, "Okay, we have these NECAT productions that are coming up, you can volunteer on one of these shows, and we will put you in that position and help you learn and help you win. What we also sometimes will do is say, like, hey, this person is making a show and they don't have a lot of help right now. We may introduce you to them, but it is up to that person, because it is their show, whether they want to take you on as a crew member or not. Because we don't want to assign people to shows, because again, it's your production. You should be in charge of who you make things with. But we're always happy to try to do things. I think the fact that you're all here tonight, this is a great opportunity to, after we're all said and done, meet everybody, shake each other's hands, say hello, talk about the shows you want to make and the things you want to do. Because a lot of times it's like, if you tell another person, they may see someone 3 weeks from now and say, oh, I'm looking for someone who could run camera. They go, well, I just met somebody. Let me put you in touch with them. Coming to things like this definitely helps make that happen. Yeah, Dan.
Question, I've asked this before about the studio calendar being interactive. So the problem is, like on a weekend, I've got a guest that wants to come into town and he's only going to be here a certain day. Mm-hmm. And I go to the calendar that's open. So I email you, hey, can I get the studio for this date so I can tell him? But then when you get into the office on Monday, or I'm not sure when you're in the office, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, then you tell me, oh, sorry, somebody emailed me before you did, so I can't tell him. But if it were interactive, so I could go in there and book that myself, then I would know. But that can't be done, because I never know.
Right.
Until I get one of you, and there's 3 or 4 of you taking emails.
So I would say always send emails to pegstudio@nashville.gov.
Yep.
So that hits everybody. And when it goes into there, whoever is booking reservations, we grab the first one that comes into us. So if you're sending it there, whoever is working should get that. And between the 4 of us, we do cover 7 days a week.
Yeah, while we're not Monday and Tuesday, we don't do physical production inside the studio. I'm always, at least myself, I'm always here Monday and Tuesday to monitor those things. So you should get a pretty quick reply. And if you haven't, like, I don't know specific instances, let me know, and we'll make sure that we take care of it. But email is always better than phone calls, just because right now, if you try to call my office, there's obviously no one up there. And so a lot of times the things we make are back here. So shoot us that email. And we always just go first in line. It's like if you email me at 3:30, but someone emailed me at 3:29, they're going to, they're going to get that way. It hasn't been a lot of trouble for us in the past to get stuff booked. So, if it's been a problem for you, come tell me about that more, for sure. Oh, go ahead.
I just want to know, is this the only space that's, is being reserved? Are there other, smaller
Sure.
studios or whatever?
So currently, we book this studio daily. We have another space in the back corner of the studio that we have used in the past for interviews, for people to do just audio interviews and video interviews and things like that. It is possible to do it as long as there is capacity in the studio for us to do that. So if you have someone that is like coming in and running all facets of the booth, that's no problem. If Eric is back here helping with the production at noon and Sam doesn't get here till 2:00, there may be a window there where we don't have enough people to run 2 productions at the same time. But a lot of times, if you're booking ahead of time, we're trying to plan for that. We have a capacity situation. We're trying to talking about budget. One of the things that we hope to do in the future is have more space for more employees, that we can help more people. Again, whenever we have the new building, we anticipate that we would have multiple spaces to be booking out. But for the next year and a half, it's pretty much this room and sometimes that other room at the same time, if it makes sense. You just have to call ahead and let us know. Yeah, in back.
Is there any consideration in the new building for animation or stop motion studio space?
We have definitely discussed stop motion in the past. I don't know that we have a dedicated space for it, but animations is a thing that I love. I wish we did more of it, but I can't say that we have put that to the top of the list. But it's a good suggestion, and we can definitely put it into consideration. Yeah, I know.
A lot of what drives the new studio space is, well, of course, budget,
Yeah.
and so demand. So it's actually really great that you all showed up today and that like you're speaking up about what your needs are, because that helps us. And if you're hearing it from other folks, encourage them to come and speak up too, because that's the data we can point to say is, okay, we do need this money. We have demand for it. There's a community need.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Quick question about the, I know one time it was like, issue with licensing for like background sounds.
Mm-hmm.
Are they thinking about upgrading the content or adding additional content for, the audio for the backgrounds or for the soundtracks?
So we have a license through Warner Chappell that allows anyone to take music from that library and use it for broadcast on NECAT. What it does not do, though, is allow you, once you make that for television, it covers it under that license, but it's a separate license if you were to use it on the internet, or if you were to use it, like say if you took it and independently made a DVD that you wanted to put out in the world that way. It doesn't cover it under that license. Music licensing is complicated. We're here in Nashville. It's Music City. We love all of our musicians and our publishers. We want to always be doing the right thing. We have a series of paperwork that we go through with anyone. So if you have specific music that you want to use, we could help show you the path of how to get something licensed. And then you're just at the mercy of going to BMI or ASCAP and going through their paperwork process. But it is possible to do. It's just a matter of that is on the independent producer to do so per show.
Yeah, that was one of the things
Yeah.
I had because I have like a catalog.
Yeah.
And I wanted to know if I could still basically allow others to use it as well.
You absolutely can if you have the publishing rights to it. We have paperwork to make that all free and clear. Just every time that you make an episode, you fill out that paperwork and you show us it's there. We file it and we're good to go usually. So yeah.
Hey, Cameron, what about
Yeah.
if it's universal? The background music. What if it's? I'm trying to think of the name.
Public domain is what you're thinking.
Yeah, public domain.
It is possible. So whenever it comes to that, there are a couple of places on the internet that offer public domain, everything from music to clips from, to use as like background images or all kinds of various things. Whenever you take a public domain image, there is a piece of paperwork that we teach all this in production 2 class. There's a piece of paperwork that goes with every one of those things. You basically just fill it out. You show us where you got the information whenever we have that. We believe you as a producer whenever you tell us, hey, this is what it is. If someone were to ever contact us and say, hey, Cameron, we saw this airing, they don't own this piece of music, what would happen is I would pull that episode off the air. I would reach out to you and say, hey, Bree, someone called me and said that you don't own this piece. I have a piece of paperwork saying otherwise. Here's their information. Clear it up with them, and when you do, come back to me. But that's how we would address it, basically.
I know a lot of places online that do public domain.
Yeah.
But you would just have, if I was to give you the information, could I just give you the website?
There's a form that you fill out that has the website, and you still have to. In Computech is one of the big ones. You list all the information. There's a specific website. There's a file name for it that all goes in there. Once it's all there, some people purchase license agreements. We ask them to send us a copy of the thing they have. We staple it to that paperwork or put it in the digital file at this point, and you can go from there. But everything is possible. It's just it's ease of use. There's a lot of things you can do. If you don't have any music, it's a lot easier to get it done. But you can have any piece of music you want as long as you have done all your due diligence to make it legal.
Even
Yeah,
if you made the music yourself.
absolutely. That's easier. If you made it yourself, that's easy to do. It's whenever you go out and say, "Oh, I want to use this Johnny Cash song," that's a little bit harder. But it's not. It is Nashville, so you may know someone who can make that happen for you. Who am I to say? So
Once you have a business license as a radio station,
it's
does that matter?
it.
Does it make it a little easier for you?
It doesn't make it any easier. And again, I cannot claim to be an expert in licensing in any way, shape, or form. But what I can tell you is that everywhere that you put that in the universe, radio is different than television, is different than the internet, is different than film and television. They all have their own licenses and how they work mechanically, and you have to, again, in this town especially, it's very important that musicians get paid, and so we want to make sure that we're not stealing from anyone in that way, which is why we ask everyone to do the paperwork the way that we do. Yeah.
Yep.
I have a question.
Sure.
I have a few. I'll say some of them for Eric in a more interpersonal way. For
Sure.
Obviously, I kind of fell into this space.
Yeah.
Being booked as an artist. So the production 1 class, then you take production 2, and after those classes have been concluded, you're able to become a member and book the studio as you see fit for your productions. Correct?
Correct.
Do these classes, are they designed in a way where you have to have some type of knowledge regarding the prerequisites of film, or are they like film for dummies? Like I can do nothing.
We try really hard to make it where if you've never stepped inside of a television studio, or if you've never made anything with a video camera before, you can come in and by the end of the day on production 1, you will have a general understanding of how to go about making something. Now, are you going to be Steven Spielberg at the end of that? Probably not. That comes with time, obviously. But we give you an opportunity to work both in front of and behind the camera during that production 1 class. Once you have completed that, you'll be able to walk out here and go, okay, I have a general sense of it. As with anything, if you don't come back for 6 months, you probably will not retain all that knowledge. But the best thing you do is just immediately start volunteering on other shows, or come up with your own show and come in and just start working through production as best you can.
Okay.
It's the best thing I can suggest.
I'm used to being in front of the camera.
Sure.
So I asked, like, that ain't my job. Even when I was in here,
Sure.
saying, do what you need to do, I don't know, that's not my lane. So that's why I was asking.
Yeah.
I know you guys also spoke about just per listening to the conversations. You guys put out something regarding like a volunteer list.
Yeah.
Where members are able to come and assist other people putting things on. I know that you stated that once we complete the courses, that we're able to book the space as needed. So is that from the assumption that we can have staff that, or people assisting us with our productions that wouldn't have went to the classes?
Yeah, that's a great question. So whenever it comes to, say if you were to come through and you did production 1 and 2, and you're a producer at that point, and you can book the studio and have your show. If you have a guest come in for like a talk show, they don't have to go through the class to be on stage and have that conversation. But if they're going to be touching any of our equipment, whenever it comes to like working our cameras or back in the booth or things like that, we cannot allow them to use that until they've gone through it, because it's a liability issue for us. We want to make sure that they're trained. Now, what you can do though is like if you have someone who is here just to help set up, things that you own, like if you're bringing in your own, like, because we have had people come in bring in their own equipment and have people do it that way. Like they may have NECAT members that are using this, but they may have another person who brings in a separate camera who just shoots. That would be perfectly fine. But we encourage people all the time. It's like to, come in, bring people who will be working with you through that course, just because it does make it a lot easier. I'm not going to say they can't turn on a light switch, because that would be silly, but we don't want to give them access to all this very expensive equipment whenever they haven't gone through the process that everyone else has taken the time to do. It wouldn't be fair to all the other members. Yeah.
And just to complete my thought, is there something upon the conclusion of these classes that we receive, maybe like a certification or something that could suffice if I were to go and be booked for another production, to have as proof that I have knowledge on equipment and things like that?
Sure. We don't offer any type of paper certificate. That is something that has come up recently again. It's definitely not out of the question that we could implement something like that in the future if it's something that people would want. I kind of always leave it to the rule of if anyone were to call me and ask me specifically, like, hey, did this person complete the training? If you did, I would say yes, in the same way that, any kind of job interview, but that's about as much information as we would. I wouldn't say like, oh, I love this person or I hate this person or whatever it may be, but we would obviously let any other employer know they have completed this training here. So yeah. And happy to write like an email out, in saying as much. But we don't have like a certificate you can frame on the wall as of right now. Yeah, Breeze.
Yeah, I was just wondering about other classes, like storyboarding classes.
Sure.
If you considered something like that in the future.
I can tell you that in the past, we have done different types of workshops before. Like I mentioned earlier this year, we partnered with the 48-Hour Film Project to do specifically an actor's workshop on how to self-tape. So we do offer things like that in partnership with people. We are having some discussion right now about kind of courses that we want to be able to teach in the new space and how that may start earlier as like a test thing. We're going through right now and planning what next year looks like for us, but nothing has been totally green lit. So that's why this feedback is so important, because it helps us kind of dictate what the next year looks like as we move forward. So if specific to storyboards, like the trick to it is we got to find an expert, because I talk about storyboards in my production 2 class in kind of the funniest way, because I will like the way that I do it is maybe different than the way some other people do it. So if you're wanting to hand draw it, that's different than the way I do it by taking photographs or drawing stick figures or things like that. But we're open to the idea of it. I would say take Production 2 class again. Come talk to me. I will teach you a way to do it that is very
Yeah, because I've been reading a lot of books about it, and then I tried doing it on my own because they've got templates online. You can go and copy.
Yeah.
And I've made copies of those. My only problem is I always thought, is there another way of making your own storyboard? And you just told me that you could just take photographs of.
I can tell you if you were to watch my filmography and you were to go back and look at the storyboards, most of the ones that you're going to see are going to be pictures of either people that were on my crew who I went through and like just basically took pictures on my iPhone, and that's how I created the storyboards because it was so much swifter than going through and hand drawing or even doing something through a program, because I'm not a person that does it that way. Yeah. Not to say that there's not someone in this audience who can hand draw something that looks immaculate, but again, take Production 2. I'll show you something that Alfred Hitchcock did, and it'll blow your mind.
Especially with like AI, is that in order to get a description of the characters that I'm creating, I use AI a lot because then it gives you a good brief description about what it is. I know there's a lot of controversy around AI and all, but I use it responsibly because, like I said, I'm doing my characters, but at the same point, it does give you sort of like a good blueprint, and then it helps out along the way when you're doing a production saying, you know, this is that and stuff like that. So I'm just saying, you know, just with AI, you can use it more responsibly, and you don't have to, because I know with the writer's strike and all going on, but like I said, I use mine responsibly. So.
Yeah. Good thought. We'll definitely take it into consideration. Any other questions? We're getting close to the end here. Anybody? Last call? Okay. Well, in closing, I just want to invite everyone back into the studio. Our next live production for NECAT is November 3rd. That's Dr. Gangrene Live. If anyone attended that last year, Lee was here.
It was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
She won an award.
Yeah, we want you to come out. We want you to come out for that. If you want to work on the production, you can let me, Eric, or Sam know. We can tune you in for that. Or if you just want to come enjoy the evening, you can come in your Halloween. November 3rd is the Friday following Halloween, but you can come in your Halloween costume if you want to. We'll have
should be a fun time.
Live music and a movie and the whole fun thing. Our next member meeting is December the 21st, just a couple days before Christmas there, and we will be having a holiday party as well as kind of reporting some things. So again, December 21st, which is the Thursday, I believe, before Christmas. 21st. Yeah. So we invite you all back for that. We'll be hanging out. If you have any questions, if you want to sign up for anything, just come get with us. If you have any one-on-one questions you want to ask us, we'll be around to the end. But thank you all for coming tonight.
Thanks, everyone.
Cool. Yeah, good to see you all.